it's quite interesting to talk about contemporary art with my 19th century hat on, because what I discovered is that the criteria for building a great collection are much the same today as they were in 1800 or in 1850 or in 1900 or in 1950. So I think it'll be a really interesting conversation. But let me introduce our panelists. Tanza Hanem, who is a collector of primarily Turkish contemporary art, Leyla Hanem, and of course Ferit Bey. And I'm not going to attempt to pronounce all of your surnames because mine is difficult enough. So we have an hour to talk about what makes a great art collection versus just a good art collection or indeed a mediocre art collection. And I thought we would divide the hour into three parts and talk about three different sort of concepts that, in my opinion, are criteria by which you can measure a great collection. And what I thought is I would raise each point in turn, and then I would turn it into a little dialogue between the four of us, if that's okay. I think, looking at the collections that I've looked at in my career over 20 years, the ones that really stand out are the ones that have included real vision and foresight on the part of the collector. I mean, we all know as collectors how to spot quality, but it's more than just buying pieces of quality. It's about creating essentially an identity, an integral identity for the collection that perhaps reflects your personal tastes and interests, rather than simply following trends and tastes. Really creating something. And speaking from my point of view, when I look at the collections that we sell at Sotheby's for great sums of money, collections that were put together 100 years ago or 50 years ago, those collections were ones that were put together through passion and real interest, not with a view to investment and reselling. So I won't say any more, but this is the first theme that I thought it would be interesting to discuss. And Tanza, maybe you want to say something about that.
I absolutely agree with you on what you said is also very parallel to the art critic writer Louisa Bach says, and she says, what you collect is yourself. I think there are a certain number of parameters in collecting art, and I would divide it into two by saying that those that have an economic concern, that means that there is an expectation on return or a turnover, and those that are for them to stay, which would be documenting an area of collecting, which would be inheritance purposes, which would be a certain aspect of legacy. So in my mind, the collecting practice divides into two. I have respect for both, but I'm on the not economic style collecting platform or collectors side. By the way, I'm honored to be here at this table with Meriç Bey and Leyla Hanım, and with you especially, who's finding such parallels from yesterday's patterns to today's. So that would be my 2 cents to start initially.
Leyla, do you want to say a few words about this idea?
Well, I think you said it all. As you say, I don't know what is a great collection. I'm really not in the position to judge that. But what I believe is if you have the guts, the passion, and the love that you put in that collection, it turns out valuable and fun to live with. I think that's it.
I think it's particularly true now in the contemporary art market, because in a sense, the market currently is still untested. My market that I deal with, which is the 19th century market, is a tested, tried and tested market. All my artists, may their souls rest in peace, are no longer alive. They have established markets. We know roughly what certain artists command on the open market. With the art that you see in this fair, I think there is still a market in the making. And it's very hard to know, how history will judge these artists in financial terms. So at the moment, it's very much about buying what you think has quality and potential and that appeals to you. So, Ferit Bey, would you like to say a few words as well?
With your permission, I want to express my feelings and my knowledge in Turkish.
Please do.
Yes, it's better in my native language.
Please do.
Şimdi koleksiyonerlik öyle bir tutku, sevgi ki bu nasıl başlıyor ben kendimden anlatayım. Ben 33 senedir çağdaş resim koleksiyonunu yapıyorum bütçeme göre. Dediği gibi arkadaşlarımın da ekonomik durumu iyileştikçe insan o tutkuyu daha ileriye götürebiliyor. Ama bana göre koleksiyoner olmak içten bir şey. Başlıyor yani doğuşta var öyle bir şey. Ne bileyim küçüklükte insan nasıl hep iyilerini toplar, kumsalda yürürken deniz minareleri, ne bileyim kabukları, şusu busu kendini gösterir. Ondan sonra gene tutkular olur, comicsler, şunlar bunlar bir takım şeylerle. Ben kendimde onları hep yaşadım. Ondan sonra da tabii ki insanın görgüsü artıyor. İş ve gezilerle dünyaya açılıyorsunuz. O zaman da ne istiyorsanız onu yapabiliyorsunuz. Ben de çağdaş sanatta karar kıldım. Çağdaş sanatta iyi koleksiyon yapabilmenin kuralları başta hepimizin mutabık olduğu gibi tutku, sevmek. Ama iyi koleksiyonda yalnız tutkuyla, sevgiyle olmuyor. Ekonomik tarafı var. Artı sanatçıyı seçebilme, kimleri götürebiliyorsunuz, taşıyabiliyorsunuz ve kendi zamanınızın, yani ben bu işe 30 yaşında başladıysam 30 benim zamanımın sanatçılarına ilgi duymam şart. Yoksa benden 30 yıl önce yaşamış sanatçıyla yalnız bu işe başlarsam ne ekonomik olarak bunu kaldırabilir insan ne de bulunduğu ülkenin sanatına bir faydası olur. Onları da çok iyi etüt etmek lazım. Sanatçıyla tanışmak lazım. Galericilerden iyi bilgiler almak lazım. Okumak lazım. Bunu yaparken de görüyorsunuz o sanatçının bu işi götürebilecek, uzun süreler götürebilecek, uzun soluklu sevgisi var mı yaptığı işe? Tabii görsellik çok önemli. Birinci şey o, görsel. Yani ben görsel olarak beğenmediğim hiçbir şey hayatımda almadım. İsterse 5 sene sonra bir aldım, 10 versin. Hiç öyle bir şeyle işim olmadı. Ama insanın içinde gelişen o bilgiyle, görgüyle gelişen göz pek yanılmıyor. Yani %10 yanılma payı var. Onun için iyi koleksiyoner kendini de geliştirmesi lazım. Çevresine de faydası olması lazım. Yani ben de onu yapmaya çalıştım. Hep sanatçısına da, galeri, hepsi bir bütün. Sanatçı, galeriler, müzeler. Eskiden zaten galeri yokmuş. Sanatçılar eserlerini müzelerde sergiler, ondan sonra satarmış. Ama bizim ülkemizde fazla müze olmadığı için, hele çağdaş sanat bizde 70'lerin başında başladı. Dünyada da 1930'larda başladı. Kendini kabul ettirmesi de kolay olmadı. Böyle olunca benim işte o süreden beri ilgilendiğim 1970'lere kadar taradım Türkiye'de ne var. Ve bu sanatçılarda müzeye giren sanatçı çok önemli. Galericisi çok önemli. 2-3 bilinen galeriyle çalışıyorsa o eserin, o sanatçının geleceği vardır. Bunlara bakmak lazım. Benim ana hatlarıyla şu anda söyleyebileceğim bu sorunun cevabı bu. Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Philip. Well, you raised some very interesting points there, which bring me really on to the second area of discussion. You talked about the knowledge of artists, understanding them well before deciding to invest in their work. And you also talked about the economics a bit. And having said earlier that a great collection shouldn't be driven just by economics, obviously there is a price to pay for good works of art, whether it's a modest amount or a more significant amount. So really my second area of discussion is talking about really stretching oneself intellectually and financially as well in order to secure the best works for the collection. Because I think it is important to focus really on the best, and as I said earlier, to curate the collection to make it great. That is what distinguishes a good collection from, or a great collection from an average collection. And what I would say is, you know, my grandfather always said, well, if you had £1,000, don't spend it, don't buy 10 pictures worth £100 each, buy one picture for £1,000. So it could be a modest amount, like £1,000, but try and get the best you can for that money, and don't dilute the collection too much. So really that is the point I wanted to discuss next, is really stretching oneself to secure the best examples, because that is how surely you build a great collection. Leyla, do you want to kick off on that one?
Claude, çok güzel bir nokta. Ben özellikle çok belli, kısıtlı bir bütçeyle koleksiyon yapan bir koleksiyonerim. Ve tabii ki hoşuna giden şeyler ve limitler hep budget'ı aşan şeyler. Yani bütçe dışı şeylerden bahsediyoruz. Fakat şöyle söylemeliyim ki, dediğin gibi parayı toparlayıp gerçekten istediğin iyi bir parça için saklamak ve ona sahip olmak koleksiyon için çok önemli. Zaman zaman bütçenin biraz dışında fikir olarak da, yani başka birisi tarafından size tanıştırılmış bir fikir de veya fiyat olarak da, bütçeyi açan bir fiyat da o koleksiyona dahil etmek çok iyi ufuklar açıyor. Koleksiyonun değeri açısından, yönelmesi açısından gerçekten çok önemli. Dolayısıyla ben yeni bir danışmanla çalışmaya başladım, Melis. Tamamıyla benim düşündüğüm, benim hislerimin dışında farklı bir düşünce tarzını bana tanıştıran bir insan. Bilgi olarak tabii ki benden daha fazla şey biliyor, yıllardır bu işin içinde. Biz de geziyoruz, bakıyoruz ama hiç düşünmediğim, bilmediğim şeyleri bana tanıştırıyor olması ve benim fikren o yöne stretch out etmem, bunu Türkçesini bulamadım, uzanmam, farklı yerlere getirecek beni. Ona inanıyorum yani, gerçekten.
I really agree with what you say, because again, speaking from my own experience working in an international auction house, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people come to my auctions, express an interest, and then for whatever reason decide not to bid or not to bid high enough to secure the picture that they really wanted. And then after the auction is over, they realize their regrets. And that's a horrible feeling, because, well, particularly in my area of the 19th century, where pictures are more rare, you know, often it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity when something comes up. And if you miss that opportunity, it's really sad. I mean, luckily with some living artists, if you miss it one time, you can presumably have the artist make you another one, or another one will come up for sale. But I think basically the same premise is true as it was then now. And so yes, so it's not having regrets and really stretching yourself. Tanza, do you have anything you want to add?
I think at one time a curator told me that if you'll buy stuff and say you buy 100 pieces, and if 3 of them are great and they're going to make it, you know, it will carry the collection onwards. So for you know, it kind of makes sense. There's been occasions, there's been regret, yes, you know, regret, but in which sense regret? It never ended up me reselling a work of art. It kind of, people change, you change, emotions change, and your butterflies at first sight when you were purchasing that work of art may no longer be there anymore, and you may say, I'm never going to display this work of art. But at the end of the day, as I'm going to refer back to where I started, it was all a reflection of your personality, of your own being at that time, of that specific time, that place, and that artist. So it kind of builds on itself. Yes, there are certain name artists that I don't really do blue chip. I don't have a blue chip artist list. I don't follow trends. I'm not after that. This is a decision that first, it's budget constraint. Secondly, I wanted to always follow something that was out of the ordinary, let's say the road less traveled, more emerging. I wanted to give a hand to the artists to support their work of art, to support their thinking, to grow with them. So I always looked into my contemporaries in a way. But yes, I did go back and I did do a research and I did read about, and I said, you know, whatever I'm trying to build can be supported by someone more established, more known, where there's a market for that person to kind of, it's like a monture for a ring, you know, to kind of be the vase for it, you know, the faunus for it. But correct. On display at Collector Stories, I put a Rauschenberg for purposes of, I wanted to share it with people, and it kind of completes a certain segment of my collection. But I don't go out of my league just to buy someone because they are someone. Or, you know, it's a personal choice. I respect those people who do. I have segmented my collection because everybody's, you know, I don't know. My wishes are infinite, but my budget is finite. So I had to segment my collection into certain themes, and those themes, be it gentrification, which is something that intrigues me, be it gender issues, another thing that kind of creates those butterflies in me, spirituality is another, and political cynicism is another thing. So all these things, I kind of try to draw the framework for the collection, while if and when a chance to buy something, little bit off my budget, little bit off my limits, but extraordinarily gonna fit into this square, I go for it. I'm not gonna lie. Of course.
I mean, to come back to my example of £1,000, well, if you're collecting prints or watercolors, you know, £1,000 might buy you a very nice little object. And if that's the parameters of your budget, and you know your limit is £5,000, you can still build a great collection. But I would still say focus on buying the best that your money can buy, whether it's £1,000 or 100,000 or £1 million. Always keep focused on the best and what you love. On view at Sotheby's at the moment in London is the David Bowie collection. I don't know if you've read about this, but David Bowie, as well as an amazing musician and singer and entertainer, was in fact a very accomplished art collector. And he has amassed a fantastic collection, which is now his estate are now selling with us on the 10th of November. But here is a collection that David Bowie put together within his own budget. I mean, he didn't pay huge amounts, but he tried to buy the best within category and things that he loved. And even now, the estimates are very reasonable for the most part. But, you know, interest will obviously push the prices way above their intrinsic market value. But I'm just saying there is a collector who did build a great collection, but in a very modest way monetarily.
That comes to quality versus quantity.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
But coming back to your point to start with, we are collectors of contemporary art. Yes. So we kind of do collect the art of the living artist. Yes. And we are not sure what their best times will be, today or tomorrow. So we kind of going really with lots of emotions. We are here like personal tastes and...
Like David Bowie.
Right.
He didn't know where he was going. He bought, for example, a Damien Hirst in 1995 when Damien Hirst was almost an unknown. I mean, this was even before the Young British Artists Sensations exhibition. And there is a spin painting in the sale, which Damien and David Bowie made together, almost out of a bit of fun. So it's hardly Damien's best picture, but it held real personal significance for David Bowie. He probably paid very little for it, if anything, you know, and now it has it has increased significantly in value. So, but sorry, Ferit Bey, if you'd like to say a few words as well.
Her iyi sanatçının yani aynı şeyi tekrarlamaz. Nasıl devreleri varsa değişik devrelerle, yeni işlerle devam ederse sanat hayatına, her koleksiyonerin de, bence iyi koleksiyonerin de devreleri, evreleri vardır. Bu devreler, evreler hem kendini geliştirme süreci içinde hem de maddi süreç içinde değişir. Ama şu var ki iyi koleksiyoner her şeyi alan koleksiyoner değildir. İyi koleksiyoner bir avcıdır. O kendi bilgisine, görgüsüne, sevdiklerine diyeyim, sevdiği eserlere, renklere, sanatçılara göre bir strateji belirler. O stratejiyle o avına çıkar. Ve maddi durumunu da ona göre ayarlar. Der ki ben bunu almak istiyorum, alacağım. Kovalar resmen. Aldığı anda mutlu olur. Ve de çoğunlukla bu koleksiyoner ondan maddi olarak da faydalar sağlar. Çünkü o bilinen bir eserdir bir saatten sonra. Çünkü evreler içinde. Baştan dostumuzun söylediği gibi 1000 poundluk iyi bir eser almak 10 tane 100 poundluk almaktan iyidir babasının sözü. Ben %100 katılıyorum buna. Ama o 1000 poundluğu da nasıl seçeceksiniz? O da ayrı bir şeydir. Onun için işin özü kalitede, kantitede, yani sayısallıkta değil. O avcılıkta belirttiğim gibi iyi koleksiyonerliğin bir ayağıdır. Daha çok evreleri var. Yalnız koleksiyon yapmakla bitmiyor. İşte bunun korunması, sigortalanma, bir sürü daha herhalde onlara geçeriz biraz sonra. Teşekkür ederim.
Great. Thank you, Ferit. It reminds me of a funny story. I was once called on a valuation in the UK. I went to a house and it was full of pictures, 19th century pictures of cats, would you believe? So, sure, the collection had an integrity in as much as it was about cats, okay? But to be quite honest with you, the quality was all over the place. I mean, this collector couldn't help himself. Whenever anything related to a cat came up, he bought it. And I felt like saying, after seeing the 100th cat picture, if it might have been an idea to buy, you know, just one great cat picture, rather than spend your money you know, just hoovering up all and sundry. But anyway, that's just an aside, but it sort of ties in with what we've been talking about. And that really brings me on to another topic, which is how does a great collection really stand out? Well, we've talked about some of the ways in which a great collection stands out, but in my opinion, another way is that a great collection tends to contain one or two standout pictures, real stars, by which the collection is known or remembered. I mean, we all go to museums around the world, we visit people with collections, and we come away and, you know, a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we think about the visit, and we think to ourselves, well, how do I remember that visit by? And very often it's for one picture or two pictures, which in a way, or objects or sculptures or prints, which carry the whole collection in some way. Now, again, with my 19th century hat on, if I think of the amazing collection of 19th century art at the Oscar Winterthur collection in Zurich, or in Winterthur, you know, it's full of amazing 19th century pictures. But how do I remember it by? I remember it by the great German romantic painting by Caspar David Friedrich, The White Cliffs of Rügen. And, you know, this is, to me, that collection is synonymous with that picture, and that picture is synonymous with the collection. And I think that is also a way that you define a collection. So that really is the next point I wanted to talk about. And maybe Ferit, you want to start on this one this time.
Tabii her koleksiyonun bir takım amiral gemileri, bayrak eserleri olması lazım. O hem koleksiyonerin tatmini açısından hem de koleksiyonun değeri açısından önemli. Koleksiyoner alır kendini tatmin eder. Ondan sonra da göstermek ister. Gösterme evresinde çok iyi birkaç Claude'un da söylediği gibi eseri olması lazım ki ilgi çeksin. Ben Türk çağdaş sanatında bu gösterebileceğim kendi eserleri çok eskiden yaptım, belirledim. Bundan 20 sene önce, 15 sene önce de çok makul fiyatlar vardı. Ama buralara geleceğini hiçbirimiz mümkün değil yani hayal edemezdik. Ama tabii gene toplumların zenginleşmesi, bu işlere önem vermesi, eğitimlerin artması buna yol verdi ve geldi bu işlere. Şimdi bakıyorum o zaman aldıklarımızla bu zaman aldığımız insanlar pek yetişemiyor fiyatlara da. O bayrak eserler koleksiyonlarda azalıyor. Amiral gemileri azalıyor. Kolay değil onları elde etmek. Zaten sayısal olarak da hele Türk çağdaş sanatında az. Ama çağdaş sanat artık globalizm denen, küreselleşme denen olayla sanatta da bu başladı. Turizm gibi siz gitmezseniz onlar da gelmiyor size. Siz de yabancı eser alıyorsunuz. Onların da iyi eserlerini almaya çalışıyoruz ve koleksiyonlarımızı zenginleştirip ilgi çekilmesini, yani ilgi görmesini ister. Her koleksiyonerin nasıl önce kendini beğenecek, ondan sonra beğendirecek içsel bir şey bu. Onun için iyi eserleri de yani hepsi kendimize göre iyi ama masterpiece diyeyim. O masterpiece'lerin her koleksiyonda bir iki tane belki daha fazla gelir düzeyine göre olması bence mutlak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferit. Yeah. Leyla, do you want to say a few words on this topic?
Ferit Bey'e çok katılıyorum. Yani koleksiyonu niçin yapıyoruz? Aslında gerçekten bilmiyorum. Belki insan kendini tatmin için yapıyor. Benim için sadece farklı düşüncelere dalıp gidebildiğim bir alan olduğu için koleksiyon yapmaya başladım. fırsatım vardı, imkanım vardı, zamanım vardı. Ama sonuçta hep kendi kendime düşünüyorum. Yani niye yapıyorsun? Yani bunun sonunda ne var? Çünkü çok ciddi bir emek ve çok ciddi bir para. Aslında Ferit Bey'in dediği gibi sonuçta kendini tatmin kadar başkaları tarafından kabul görme, beğenilme hikayesi de çok dürüst olarak her koleksiyonun arkasında var. Bir koleksiyonun kabul görmesi için içinde star sanatçıların olması gerekiyor. Bu star sanatçılar kimdir, nedir, dönemine göre tabii ki değişiyor ve hele biz yaşayan sanatçıları yaptığımız için çok zor. Yani dün star olan bugün değil, bugün star olan yarın değil. Hakikaten kolay bir şey yok. Cevap yok maalesef buna. Ama insanların ilgisini çekme açısından, koleksiyonun tanınması açısından önemli, değerli eserlerin onda olması gerçekten mühim. Zannediyorum bunu yaparken de yine de checklist, yani bir listeden giderek, isim alarak, isim yükleyerek değil de onun içerisinden kendi koleksiyonuna uygun olan, iyi bir bağlam kuran ama orada bir masterpiece olacak bir işe yer vermek çok önemli.
Thanks, Leila. Yes, I mean, I concur. I think that when I mentioned that a collection should have some standout stars, they don't necessarily need to be standout stars that are known to your friends or the wider collecting public right now. Stars in your own mind, pictures which you personally feel are the backbone of your own collection. Because I agree with you, you can't know today who will be the stars of tomorrow, particularly in the contemporary art field. But when I say have a collection with some real standout works, I really mean works that stand out for you, the collector. So thank you. Tanza?
I agree with both of them on all of those points. As you enter my home, I have a Tracy Emin piece. It's a neon light piece. It says passion, passion. And it stands on top of my entrance door. So that kind of encapsulates the whole idea behind the collection. She may not be the starest of all stars, but she's a pretty well known to many in the art world. So that being said, it's a funny world, the art world, as you would say, Claude, right? How do you endorse art? Like, what is good art? What is bad art? Who's a good artist? Who's a bad artist? Who's gonna who should be in a collection, who shouldn't be in a collection. There's kind of a very speculative world behind it as well, so it's really hard to come up with a couple of names, one name. Of course, the market decides on a certain amount who that person is. But then the ecosystem is quite big enough. Like there's the curator, there's the gallery director, there's a collector, there are players, so like people may get confused about how the system really works. Maybe I should ask you a question. Who endorses? Like who would you say is a star artist?
What, today, or yeah, how are star artists born? That's a big question.
We don't know.
Well, I think, dare I say it with my commercial hat on, I mean, it is very market-driven. I mean, at auction, we obviously are dealing with the secondary market, not the primary market. We are not dealers. We are selling artists that already have, some track record in the retail world, in the dealer world. But I'd like to think that when those artists come to us for sale, I mean, I'll take the example of Damien Hirst, I'll come back to him in a minute, when those artists are launched to a broader audience through international auction, it becomes like a snowball effect, and they start to become household names. And then the market gives rise to exhibitions at museums, and the exhibitions in turn feed the market, and so it snowballs. I mean, if I could just come back to the Damien Hirst example for a minute. Some of you may remember we had a big sale of Damien Hirst's work in London in 2008. As you know, Damien Hirst is represented by White Cube, or was at the time. Damien Hirst decided one day that actually he'd like not to sell through the White Cube, but to have an auction, direct, with us. And for that auction, he created 240 works of art, paintings and prints and objects. And we ended up selling them for about £100 million, which is probably more than they would have made even at the White Cube, which was a fascinating experience, and all that on the day that Lehman Brothers collapsed. It was the 15th of September 2008. I remember the date exactly. It was the start of the whole financial meltdown. And he got away with it. And so in answer to your question, Tanza, how does it work? Well, I mean, I've given you one case study of how it works. I mean, of course, Damien Hirst had the advantage of being a YBA, a young British artist. He was in the Sensations show in 1996, and that kind of put him on a platform. But of course, his pictures and art weren't making big prices at the time. But one thing led to another, and before you know it, these artists are household names. But again, in the case of Damien Hirst, I would argue that he almost has reached his zenith. He's already dropping down again a bit. I mean, to be honest, if we were to get a pickled cow in formaldehyde now, could we sell it for £10 million as we did in 2008? I'm not sure we could, to be honest. I'm not sure. Anyway, I digress. This conversation has, but you raise a very interesting point about other factors that bring artists up, bring star pictures into that status. You mentioned curate, and it was mentioned earlier by several of you. We talked about curators, consultants, and if I may now move on to perhaps the final area. We started off by saying how important it is to shape your collection according to your own passions and interests and really build it from the heart. I was very fortunate this morning to be shown around the Tony Ventura exhibition curated by Caroli here. There are amazing photographs in that show, which some of which were picked up for $10, but I mean they look amazing because Tony Ventura really had a vision, and I would call that a great collection. Now he presumably did that more or less on his own without aid, but I wanted to talk to you about the role of consultants or advisors or curators, and to what extent you feel that a great collection requires that help, or whether you are confident to do it on your own, or whether it's a bit of both. Ferit, maybe you want to start.
Tabii ki sanatta baştan beri söylüyorum, bilgi çok önemli ve profesyonellere inanmak lazım, her işte olduğu gibi. Küratörler, yönlendiriciler hem koleksiyonerin bilgisini artırır, hem de zaman içinde doğru yanlış yaptığını da gösterir bir yerde. Tabii her bilgiye de ne kadar iyi olursa olsun bazı spekülasyonlar olabilir o konularda da. Ama şu var ki onların sayesinde doğru bilgilere ulaşmak, danışmanlık almak çok önemli. Ama sanat değişiyor. Şimdi görüyoruz, dünyada fuarlar başladı. Bu fuarlarda kuratörlerden daha çok galericiler etkili oluyor. Onlar eserleri alıyorlar ve istediklerini, satabileceklerini sergiliyorlar o fuarlarda. Bu da eski önemini demeyeyim ama her zaman bilgi çok önemli. Ticari şeyini, varlıklarını biraz kısıtlıyor kuratörlerin. Bakıyorsunuz işte hepimizin bildiği Basel'lar, işte Fries'ler, Fransa fiyaktır, işte bizim 11. yılını idrak ettiğimiz Contemporary İstanbul. Çok şeyi bir arada görebiliyorsunuz. Ama size ne gösterilirse onu görüyorsunuz. Onun için bunlar da etkili oluyor. Zevklerde, alımlarda ciddi olarak dünyada etkisini arttırıyor ve daha işi küreselleştiriyor. Bizler kimse yoktu Art Basel'da 10 sene önce. Şimdi gidiyorsunuz, Türk toplumundan da, Türk insanını da her yerde görüyorsunuz. Hong Kong'da da görüyorsunuz, Miami'de de görüyorsunuz, Basel'da da, Londra'da da. Ayrıca da burada da yabancıları görebiliyorsunuz. Bu da o sanattaki küreselleşmeyi hoş bir şekilde yapıyor bu fuarlar. Benim görüşüm bu. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really interesting, and I couldn't agree more. You know, it's all very well putting together your own collection with your heart at the heart of it, but someone has to open your eyes to what there is out there, whether it's the dealer, whether it's the consultant, whether it's visiting a museum. You know, you have to get ideas, whether it's us, the auction houses. I mean, I like to think we also open up people's horizons, and in fact that's how a lot of collectors I know started, by being advised either through dealers or, if I may be so bold to say, you know, by me. If they're starting out in the 19th century field, they will come to me and say, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So, I mean, I too have advised to a degree on what I think represents quality and, you know, an interesting work. So I absolutely agree that all these players have an important part to play. But Leila, do you want to say a few things about that?
Curators, they're quite important. I'm sorry. Keep English, Turkish, I'm sorry. Curators, I believe in my life they've been important because I do visit a lot of museums, art initiatives and things like that, and I do learn a lot from those curators whom they pick. And I do look into another depth, and then there's another whole big section of something to read on or to look after. So curators are important, if you ask me. I think whomever is in this art business is important. I mean, the artists are important because we go and talk to them, we visit their showrooms and you know, spend time, hours to talk, and they're talking about something that I don't know about, and that opens up another subject. Visiting other collectors' houses, which I did quite a lot with Saha, all over the world, that opens up a whole different aspect, because there are some that we've seen, as we've talked about, all those checklisted houses. They have the masterpieces, one after another and after another, but nothing stays in our mind. And then there are some, as you say, as Tony Ventura's, you know, $10 photograph, it's next to another very important, you know, painting. That stays with us. That really stays with us because there is passion and love and, as you say, thought and intelligence into it. Consultants, I really do believe in consultants, but I mean, I look at it differently. I don't want anyone who bows, you know, whatever I'm thinking about. It should be controversial. Yeah, a partnership that we can talk and really, you know, tear it apart. The collection and whatever, the dialogue, that's true, yeah. So, with all that, I think we grow up and our tastes change and our collections change, and we'll see. It's a road. It's a road we're taking, and I enjoy it.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah.
Nancy, do you have anything you wanted to add about consultants or, you know, advisors?
I don't use a consultant. However, I have quite a number of consultant friends. And I bring all together their ideas, and also gallery directors who've become friends, and also curators who became my friends. And there's so much information, and then I sit down basically, and I don't do it that often. I process. And after that process, it's I can read into it, I can intrigue into it, I can look further into that, and it just when the time comes, and when the time is right, it just comes in front of me. I actually am not a big fan of buying from fairs, because for me, going to a gallery, visiting them in person, of course, this kind of the fairs, obviously. They serve everything on a silver plate. You have everything on your plate without exhausting you.
It's a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop, absolutely. It gives an idea, but what they display doesn't necessarily mean what they have behind the walls, because they may be carrying another 20 artists that might not be on the walls of the fair. So you really have to make the effort to go to a gallery, or the artist, if she or he doesn't have a gallery, go to the studio and, you know, kind of look into it and see what really matches with your personal tastes, wants, wishes, limitations, whatnot. I just want to add something, but which will maybe put me in a bad position at this time, because at Spot, you know, I'm co-founder of an initiative called Spot Projects, where we cater contemporary art courses, seminars, and a membership program to kind of give people an idea about what the art world is all about, you know, or to give them an initiation for them. So I don't necessarily believe that curators are not commercial. I think they do feed the market. They do feed the galleries. They do feed the consultants. If you're a good curator, quite a well-known curator, you definitely do have an orbit of artists that you build their CVs. And those building CVs is not for nothing. You're going to serve it somewhere, right? It's not going to be, it's not one open hand. You don't send it to the space. It needs to be met. The artist needs to be appreciated, and for that appreciation, it needs to be in the market. So I believe the whole ecosystem of the art world kind of goes hand in hand. We don't see the curator too much because they are usually behind the scenes, behind the walls, behind the curtain, but they do definitely feed the market in who is gonna get where. I'm gonna put it in quote, who's gonna be a star or not. So that's my thinking. From what I learned through the course of Spot, what it taught me, and we've hosted a number of artists, we've hosted a number of curators, name it, it's been our 5th year. We've done courses, membership programs, lots of stuff. And this is my conclusion. No matter which book you read, no matter which curator, they're never gonna say they don't feed the market. They're never gonna say. But it's a reality. You can't dismiss that.
Great, thanks. I know we have 1 hour and we've got another 5 minutes. So in those last 5 minutes, perhaps we can just conclude by asking each of you how you started collecting? I mean, Leila, you already talked about it a little bit, but what the motivation was, and also how you collect, whether it is all just your own decisions, or whether you do, further to what we've been talking about, it is a consultative process with consultants or advisors or curators. Leila, do you want to start?
Until now, I think I just did whatever, I picked up whatever I liked. But of course, I talked to a lot of gallerists and friends and art people and curators. But generally, what I did is I just bought what I liked.
Followed your own eye.
With my own eye, that's true. But of course, you keep your ears open and your eyes open. You know whom to follow up and things like that. Well, I'm now getting into a new phase with my consultants, so we'll see how we lead. But generally, as you say, it's going to be a dialogue, and it's not going to be like what she says, I'll follow up, but she'll probably will push me into the right. Yeah, will push me into the right track.
Ben ilk resmimi Baraz Galeri'den aldım, Yahşi Bey'den, 83 senesinde. Kendi beğenimle aldım. O an çok hoşuma gitti. Ondan sonra işim vasıtasıyla Sovyetler Birliği'ne gidiş geliş başladı. Gorbaçov devri. Yumuşama başladı. Oraya gittim. Ne yaparsınız? Gezersiniz. İşte Arbat'ta, şurada, burada boş zamanlarınızda. Hoşuma gitti. Onların da resim sanatı. Hiç bilmediğimiz bir kapalı kutuydu. Orada ilgilenmeye başladım. Bir şeyler aldım. Sonra Türkiye'ye geldim. Şirket olarak İstanbul'daki Rus konsolosluğuna, Sovyetler Birliği konsolosluğuna o gün müracaat ettik. Dedik ki Rus resim sanatını Türk sanatseverlerine tanıştıralım. Bize izin verin. 2-3 arkadaşımızı bu işten anlayan yollayalım oraya. İşte o zaman Leningrad tabii ki Moskova gezsinler. Orada bir devletsel olay vardı tabii. Direkt sanatçılar devlete veriyorlardı yaptıklarını. Onlar da işte sanatçının kendileri nasıl saptıyorsa kalitesine göre paralar ödeniyor. Belli sabit maaşları da vardı. Neyse kabul ettiler bunu. Çok hoşlarına gitti. O zamanki büyükelçi de çok iyi Türkçe konuşan Mr. Chernyshev hoşlaştı bu işten. Bizim şirketimizin halkla ilişkiler müdüresi ve bir Gürol abimiz vardı, sanat eleştirmeni, yazarı. Gürol Bey'i yolladık. 150 eser topladılar 2 ay kalıp. Burada Atatürk Kültür Merkezi'nde bir sergi açtık. Çok ilgi gördü. Ondan sonra 2 ay burada, 2 ay Anadolu Medeniyetleri Ankara ve İzmir Atatürk Kültür Merkezi'nde sergilendi bunlar. Ve satıldı. Mesela Erol Aksoy Bey, doğru yani yanlış değildir ya, bir eksik bir fazla 13-14 eser aldı. Hepimizin, yani bizler de kendi sakladığımız şeyler oldu. Ve ben bundan sonra hep ilgi duymaya başladım. O ülkelerde, Türkiye Cumhuriyetlerde, Rusya'da. Ondan sonra da içe döndüm. 95'lerde yani sanatta da buradaki sanatçı ve resim sanatıyla, modern çağdaş sanatla ilgilenmeye başladım. Öyle bir süreç yaşadım. Teşekkür ederim.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Ferit Bey. Tanza, do you want to say a few words?
It's similar, but it's when I started, I really didn't know why I was collecting. I think it had to do with myself coming from a collecting family. It's kind of in the blood. Yeah, it's. I used to do stuff like collecting stamps and stuff like that when I was a kid. But I grew up in a house where my parents appreciated paintings of classical times and Islamic, Oriental art objects. They would sit in front of it, talk for hours, you know, like, and kind of, I think I had the disease. So it just came to me that saying, you know, what is contemporary art? Why am I not looking into something that could have a reference to me in the future? So it started off learning about it, educating myself about it. I didn't study art at universities. I learned through some curator friends, private lessons. Then when I started collecting, I realized that I'm collecting because I do want to leave something behind. It's like a documentation of a certain period of time I lived in. It may stop. I'm not going to promise anyone here, you know. It's gonna. I have the same worries as Layla. Why am I collecting? What am I going to do with it? Once you have storage, what's next? If it's not going to be shown, why am I doing it? So let's see. Maybe sometimes it will come, and I would be loaning into a museum for very long times. Maybe I may stop, maybe not, but I did accumulate a number of works of art that kind of does document a certain 10 years of times that I lived in, with references to the area, geography, Turkey, Eastern Europe, MENA countries, Middle Eastern, North African. So I think that was the purpose. It's a very personal journey.
Illusion, and you know, we all move through different phases of our life, and you know, we become interested in certain things in certain places. And actually, to me, some of the greatest collections are those that are eclectic. And you know, to your point, Ferit Bey, you know, you talked about the synergy between Russian art and bringing it here, and this was the beginning. And I think you raise a very interesting point, because, you know, if I look now at China, for example, and our collectors over there, until recently they were only interested in buying Chinese art, Chinese works of art or Chinese contemporary art, but now they're starting to get interested through self-education in European art. I mean, again, we do quite a bit to promote European art in China, in Hong Kong and Beijing, and slowly, slowly you're seeing Chinese collections with, you know, French 19th century pictures in them, you know, alongside the Chinese art, and I think that's really healthy. So cross-pollination, and I think in the ever more global world in which we live in, we shall be seeing more and more of that. But I'm very conscious of the time, and I'd like to thank the panelists, Tanza, Layla, and Ferit, very much for your time and for your insights. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you'll take a few ideas away with you as well. So thank you very much.